Item selected. This comes from Deputy Neil Richmond and Deputy Jennifer Carroll McNeill, and they wish to discuss ongoing issues with Carmona School, Dublin, and progressing disability services with the Minister for Health. Mr. Rabbitte, you're on the spot again, are you? All right. Deputy Richmond.
Ken Corla, and I'd like to thank you very much for selecting this really important topical issue that I know the Minister herself is particularly familiar with. Carmona School was located in my colleague Deputy Carl McNeill's constituency of Dunleary, services the entire county of Dunleary-Rathdown, and many parents in my own constituency are facing an extremely difficult time at the moment, being unable to have the proper services awarded to their children in this particular school. And Minister, I remind you of the meeting you held with the parents and the principal of the schools in May of this year, when you gave the guarantee that services would be returned to the pre-COVID-19 levels within this very important school. And while I understand that the HSE has returned staff to their allocated hours, this is still much less than the service the school was experiencing before the outbreak of the pandemic. This is absolutely harrowing for so many parents whose children are in this school, for the teachers, for the wider school community, and for so many people involved. The fact is, Minister, there hasn't been a speech and language therapist in this school since February. There are extremely vulnerable children at risk on a daily basis who are not receiving the duty of care from the state in this school. It is simply not good enough. And I am appealing you this evening, along with my colleague Deputy Carl McNeill, to have this remedied as quickly as possible. Carl McNeill.
Thank you, Ken Corla. Minister, as I know you're deeply aware, Carmona is not a school as such. I want to thank you at the outset for your constant engagement and good faith and your commitment to this issue, including coming out and meeting. I really do. You know, you've been exceptional on it. But on behalf of the parents, I also want to put on the record of the House, you know, Carmona is not a school, it's a centre of excellence for children with severe to profound intellectual disability. I spoke with a number of parents today, parents whom I know you've interacted with, and to describe how their children need constant therapeutic supports. To give an example for the need of on-site clinicians, one of the patients is a young boy of senior infant's age. He's not in senior infants though, he never will be, and he's not going into first class either. His #1 learning goal this year is to bring a spoon from a bowl of food to his mouth and back down again. He has 3 learning goals and they're all therapy based. None of them is a reading, writing, arithmetic. That's not on the cards. There are 4 adults and 5 children in this room because that's what the children need. That young boy, both of his hips are dislocated. If he's uncomfortable or if he's in pain, he has no means of shifting his position. So he needs constant therapeutic oversight and support to prevent scoliosis and to help him communicate. There's no way of deconstructing his therapy needs and his learning needs. There's another girl who's 10 who cannot communicate at all. And because the speech and language therapies aren't there, her behaviour is regressing as well, Cian Corla, because she can't communicate her frustration, she can't communicate anything to her family, she doesn't sleep much, and her parents are trying to look after her now without support, but also trying to navigate a constant dialogue with the HSE, whom they have lost all faith in. And having dealt with the parents for this length of time, and I know Minister Rabbitte shares some frustration on this, you know, it's understandable why. I look forward to hearing your response, and perhaps I'll come back in at that stage. Thank you, Cian Corla.
Thank you very much, Cian Corla, and I wish to thank the deputies for raising this evening. And this is a very important issue. And as Deputy Carl McNeill is after saying, it's not a school in the sense of a school. Okay, and it's important for people that are looking in here to understand that. What we're speaking about this evening is our most vulnerable young people in society. As the deputies knows, I have met, and you have referenced it, a number of the parents and families of Carmona on a number of occasions, as well as visiting Carmona with Deputy Cormac Devlin and yourself, Deputy Carol McNeill. Earlier this year, I know all too well the difficulties that have faced throughout the rollout of Progressing Disability Services model in this area. And I should say as well, PDS, it should never have been a one-size fits all. And I also recognise the challenges in meeting the demand for children's disability services, and I'm acutely aware of how this impacts on children and their families in these most difficult and challenging times. That being said, I want to assure the House, from my perspective, that the HSE carried out all requests and directions made by myself when it came to pausing the removal of therapy posts from special schools. The pause button was hit so as I could work with the department and the HSE on securing an additional 85 therapists for our special schools, which was successfully achieved before the summer including posts staying in Carmona. Local HSE disability services under the auspice of the Community Health East Disability Service have informed me that they have acted in good faith and in an open and transparent manner with the information received from the current service provider, St John of God's, and in communication with parents and the principal of Carmona School. Having made inquiries with the HSE on this matter, I have been informed that the pre-COVID allocation whole-time equivalent levels, based on the information given by St John of God's in April 2021, is as follows. Occupational therapist was 0.4, which is the equivalent of 2 days. Senior physiotherapist was 0.38, which is equivalent to approximately 2 days. Speech and language therapist 0.2, which was equivalent to approximately 1 day a week. And this is where the issue lies, as it seems to me, that there may have been an underestimation of services delivered on the ground by the previous provider, as the parents have indicated that the clinicians were present more than this. You have clearly articulated this evening, we already have that discussion abroad in Carmona. I am hearing that and I'm clearly understanding it. And it seems to me that that is where there's a breakdown in communication stems from and why there is a perceived difference. Perhaps it was the Excel sheet, the way it was worded, the way it was delivered, the way it was interpreted. But the HSE acted on the information that they were requested on, okay? And I am told that the level of support as indicated by the previous provider is being provided by the Children's Disability Network teams assigned to the school. The new lead agency, Enable Ireland, who, under the PDS, have replaced the St John of God's, is actively recruiting to fill these vacancies and to ensure on-site support in the school for the future. And I did give a commitment for on-site support. In order to ensure that the safety and appropriate services will be continued to be provided under PDS model of service delivery over the course of the next 2 weeks, the Children's Disability Network team are undertaking a thorough due diligence exercise in respect of the children who attend Carmona. They will review the transfer report to identify if a number of the specific supports needed to be scheduled for children, ascertain the needs of the children and resources required from the CDNT going forward, which the above information will assist in this analysis. So it is a complete review of the Excel from April 2021.
Thank you, Minister.
All right, I'll continue on where I left off then.
Deputy Richmond and Deputy Carmona.
Ceann Corlett, and I'd like to sincerely thank the Minister, not just for her reply this evening, but her continuing efforts in this regard, and we are extremely grateful, particularly for your frankness. But I think it's important when we talk about points on the scale and spreadsheets, and the fact that a lot of this stress, and it's beyond stress, is down to a breakdown in communication. I think we all share, and it's no criticism of you, Minister, that it's simply not good enough. It's not good enough for the children who attend the service who are at constant choke risk. It's not good enough for the positioning they find themselves. It's not good enough for their parents and guardians who lie awake sleepless at night, wondering if their parents are safe to go into Carmona the next day. I genuinely thank you, Minister, for your frankness and your response. And the one thing I will stress is that time is of the essence. And whilst a stopgap has been put in, it is important to give the peace of mind and security for this entire community that those recruitment will be done in a timely and efficient manner.
Carol McNeill.
Thank you, Minister, for your response. And, I have a list of our back and forth, and it shows quite how engaged you are. But, and I hear what you're saying about the assessment of services. You will also understand that the parents at this stage don't care. Do you know what I mean? Why it was assessed or assessed wrongly. They don't have the therapists that they need. They won't care about Excel. And I've dealt with the HSE and I've heard about Excel spreadsheets before. Did it not raise some questions for them? Would be my question back to the HSE. Why is it such an under-provision? Given how we know how serious this is and we know how the Minister has been making directions in relation to this. In the parents' words, we are talking about the most disabled children in this country, the most disabled country, and it's mind-numbing that the HSE wouldn't have reacted more forcefully to challenge an assessment of that kind. You know, there should be no need for the parents to have to be as engaged as they are on this issue. They shouldn't have to contact people like me or yourself or anybody else. This was anticipated, well flagged. There was no handover by the HSE when social work services were removed. I have one woman whose son is 11, extreme behavioural problems. She has no social worker since June, and there was no handover. If I was going on holidays, I would do a handover so somebody could cover my work. But they didn't anticipate a handover for a social work need of this kind. He has no behavioural therapy. There's no respite. They're considering bringing him to A&E because they literally have nowhere else to go at this stage.
Minister, to conclude.
Thank you, Deputies. So since yesterday, and to complete this piece of work with a timely and safe manner, I am informed by the HSE that the Children's Disability Network Manager has increased the clinical resource in addition to the original allocation on the temporary basis for the existing Children's Disability Network team. Okay. I am also happy to say that I can confirm that the CEO of Enable Ireland, the HSE Chief Officer of the area, the Disability Head of Services and the CDNM will be scheduling a meeting with the children's family separately to the meetings with the Principal of Carmona in the coming weeks. That's within the next 2 weeks, to get the clear understanding that how you have articulated here this evening, to see the parents in front of them, to actually to understand, and they don't need to understand, but perhaps they need to be reinformed, retold, that it's not like everyone else. It is a little bit different. These are the most vulnerable, and for a child to be in discomfort, they need that extra help and assistance, and they are dependent on more speech and language, more physio, more OT. And to be honest with you, Ceann Comhairle, I was very fortunate that the Taoiseach supported me and Minister Donnelly in acquiring mid-season 85 additional therapist posts. I will not be found wanting for what is required to fill the gap either in Carmona. So whatever is the outcome, I just want an outcome from the HSE to tell me what the shortfall is so as we can ensure a delivery of service in Carmona and get on with delivering services and rolling out PDS. Thank you, Ceann Comhairle.